Today's beginner's easy watercolour lesson for you is how to paint a sunset silhouette of a bird on water. So let's get them brushes wet and let's make a start. We'll start off using a mop brush just to wet the background. And you want to wet the background a couple of times. Allow the water to soak into the paper in between each layer of water as well. See, by wetting it more than once, that gives you that little bit more working time when you're working on it. In other words, it stays wetter that little bit longer. Not that much longer, but a little bit more. Let that soak in and I'll do it again. Now if you're interested in the materials which I use for the paints, the brushes and the paper, have a look at the link in the description down below. Right, that's about soaked in now, and I've had a couple of coats of water on there. I'm going to get my old-fashioned size 18 brush, and it really is old, look at the state of that. But it works. It's a soft head bristle brush. And I'm going to start off with the lightest colour first, our lemon yellow, and add that towards the centre. Just in the middle. Go right across. In fact, I'm going to bring it even further down. Yeah, I know. I'm going to be daring. And then blend it out towards the top. Then I'm going to go for my cadmium orange and add that in around 2/3 of the way up to begin with. Then bring it down towards the horizon. Probably it's about there-ish. I'm going to continue this all the way up towards the top now. And I'll replicate that down the bottom, so it's like a mirror image in a way, nearly mirror. So a little bit of this down here, before the paper starts to dry, remember. And blend it out towards that yellow. So far so good. Then we've got a mixture of cadmium orange and burnt sienna. I'm going to add this in around there. Again, probably about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way up. And bring it all the way up. This will enrich the colour, even though we know the dark is going to be at the top. And a little bit of that at the bottom as well. Okay, so far so good. Then I'm going to go for the darkest colour, get ready for it. This is a mixture of lamp black and cadmium orange, just to warm the black up a little bit. Black on its own can look quite flat, really. So if you're going to use black like I tend to do a lot of the time, not always, but lots of the time, make sure that you add a bit of colour into that black. In this case, obviously orange. So horizontal stripes all the time, that's all I'm doing. Let's get my mop brush a minute and very lightly give that a bit of a twiddle and fiddle just to blend it slightly so it doesn't run down the paper too far. Try to control it, remember. I'm going to wash out my size 18 a minute, make sure it's semi-dry. Grab some of my cadmium orange again and bring that up a little bit higher. And probably from there as well. If I bring that dark down, it's going to go right into that yellow, isn't it? Which I don't want it to do. So I'm going to add some more cadmium orange around here. Just to enrich it that little bit more, because it's a little bit too dull. Yeah. Just break it up. And blend that upwards. So you can't see where one colour starts and the other colour finishes. Or thereabouts. As a great Bob Ross used to say. And then, if I get another brush, I've got loads of brushes on the go here. Just going to bring this along the top there just to fine tune this horizon. I don't want it running down too far. I want to try and control the paint around there. And probably just bring up a little bit of colour now in towards that yellow. It's starting to dry. It is. As for the bottom, I'll stick with the size. Which one is this one now? Size 8. So I've got basically 3 brushes on the go here. I know. That will do about there, I think. A bit more cado, I think, around there. I keep looking at the photograph and thinking I need to brighten it a little bit more. And the more you brighten it, the richer it will look on the paper. Bearing in mind it will dry that little bit duller as well. Let's get that brush rinse out a minute. Go with some yellow again. Bring that yellow up towards the dark. Trying to bring the yellow upwards rather than bring the colour down. I don't want the the yellow to get too tainted further down. So I'm trying to control it around that area there without making a tide mark. You can keep doing this as much as you want to, as long as that paper's wet. And that's all I'm doing. Keep playing with the colours all the time there, look, as you can see. Okay, that should do. Just about anyway. As for down here, now this is starting to dry, as you can see. But what we can do, put a little bit of dark down there initially. The shine has nearly gone off the paper, but that's ideal for what we need to do with it. Just using my size 8 brush, it'll do. Then all I want to do is flick up a few little lines here and there, crossing those lines at the same time. Some long, some short, some wide, some thin. Doesn't matter. And because the paper's damp in this area, not soaking wet anymore, this will kind of blur a little bit as it starts to dry. Try to use the very point of the brush if you can. If you want to use a smaller brush, then do so. So all I'm doing is flicking up. Going over the top of the masking tape I've got on the paper, which I have. It's a clear masking tape, you can barely see it. Just a few like that. Playing with that paper. Or playing with the colours. I'm going to go for another brush, you know. I am. This one is a size 2. I've got another mixture, which is this one here. Cadmium orange and phthalo blue, but only a tiny amount, a smidging of phthalo blue. Is that a word, smidging? Load your small brush up. Give it a tap a few times like that. And then working horizontally, all you need to do is add a few little marks on the paper. I may have a touch more black in there just to darken it a fraction. Just try that a minute. Don't want it too dark. Just add some hints or suggestions of ripples in the water. Blurry ripples. And we can strengthen these a little bit more once the paper is dry. But not until. A bit more orange in there. So I'm trying to vary them a little bit more as I go along. And also note as well the way that they tend to get smaller the further away they go and just simply disappear. And I'm just doing this on the damp paper. If your paper's too wet, like down here, a little bit too wet down there, those lines will just blur away. They'll just fade into the paper, which is fine. But give it another few minutes, another 2-3 minutes, and then you find you can go over the top of the same area again and add a few more in there. So when I go to probably around here, the last marks I'll make around there maybe. Just a few odd ones like that. Spaced apart even further. Just a hint of it around there. Working horizontally as I mentioned all the time. Take your time, there's no rush. There really isn't. Then once this is dry, I'll add a few more in places over the top. Using the same sort of colours. I might change the colours as I go along though. Bit of burnt sienna in there, a bit more cadmium orange. I'll just vary it really. So remember, tiny towards the top. A little tip as well is when you're working towards the top area, make sure that most of the paint is off that brush. That way you get the finest of marks. See what I mean? Tiny, tiny marks like that is all you'll need. Keep it horizontal. I think what I'll do, I'll get some kitchen roll. It's a little bit damp, this kitchen roll, which is probably ideal really. Just get down the side to tidy up the edge. Right, let's give that a dry and we'll go over the top with some more detail and also paint that black-legged stilt. Right, that's nice and dry, or just about dry. I'm going to darken this top a little bit more now. Without wetting the paper first though. Just to make it slightly darker. I won't go down too low with this. Maybe a little bit further. A bit more paint. Down to maybe about there. Let's get that brush a quick rinse out. And semi-dry it. So it's nearly dry like that. All I want to do then is just very lightly soften it. If your brush is too wet, you'll end up pulling the paint off underneath, which you don't want to be doing. Very lightly, just caress it using the side of the brush. bring it down. Okay, rinse that brush out again and do the same again. Just to soften it back. Make sure there's no water hardly on that brush. There's a little bit on that brush, but not much. And fade it out. Let's just darken that top down, isn't it? Just that little bit more. Just adds to it. Now I've taken a little bit of paint off there. So I'm going to go over the top of that again with a little bit more paint. We'll leave that to dry. We'll do the same with the bottom very shortly. But I think what I want to do is add some more of these ripples on. Now remember this colour here I mentioned earlier on. That's a cadmium orange and just a touch of phthalo blue. And very lightly going over the dry paper, add a few more ripples in there. And remember what I said about it needs to be a little bit wider, a little bit larger towards the front. And as you get towards the back, in fact leave that area down there now. But as you get towards the back, probably about near here, the line's going to be quite small indeed and spaced further apart. Take some of that paint off the brush, there's too much on it. And I'm barely touching that paper whilst I'm doing this. Just add those extra ripples on the paper, that's all I'm doing. I think I'll add some of this colour as well into the sort of reeds or grass blades, whatever they are there. Just add a touch more in there, but not much. Then I go over the top of that again with some dark colour. So start from the bottom and flick up. Varying those marks as you do so, and also varying the angles as they curve around. I want just a few of these to stand out. Go into our creamy black and do the same down the bottom here. Trying to create more of a layered feel. So I'm painting on top of the masking tape here at the moment. My sort of transparent masking tape, which you can't see. That's why it's transparent, I know, can't see it. I'm doing the same thing again, but also avoiding some of the area above, allowing some of the lighter lines to show through. Then once you've got these on, give it a quick dry, and then we'll paint the bird. Now to paint the bird, you can either get the image on by drawing it out freehand if you want to, get yourself a mechanical pencil, something like this one here. Or, another way you could do this, is by using some graphite back paper. So shiny one side and dull on the other. So the shiny side is obviously the graphite side, and that'll be down like that. And over the top of that, I suggest what you do is print out the photograph in readiness and place it over the top. So I'd like to tape it down with some transparent tape again, some low tap masking tape, that's all it is. Get some graphite back paper, remember shiny side down, pop that underneath, like that. Mechanical pencil, very fine nib on this one as I mentioned, and then draw around the image. So you can just simply trace it on. So you've got the feet, like that, if there are any feet on there. Is that it? And there you go. That's as simple as that. It really is. That's all you got to do. So go for your black, and the size 2 brush will do. As long as it's got a decent point on it, that should be enough. Load that brush up, give it a roll as you pull away from the mixing well, and give it a tap or two on some kitchen roll. And then paint it in. Fill in your little shape. So you got to do. You don't have to be spot on with it, as long as it's near enough. Then over the top of the head, fill in the back, and try and use most of the paint off the brush to begin with. Because when I get down to that beak, I want that beak to be nice and fine. And you only get that fine when there's hardly any paint on that brush. Then fill it in. Then the legs. That goes down to there, that goes down to there, that goes down there. And this one as well. I did all of that with only loading the brush once. There you go. And that is it for that. Now all I want to do now is lift off a little bit of paint to give more of a horizontal line across there. Not forgetting we need to put a reflection in there as well. So 2 things left to do. First of all, a horizontal line. All I want to do is get some scrap watercolour paper like these here, look. Just some tester paintings which I've done. I'm going to place these over the top. Like that. Now I want the line to be roughly, what would you say, about there-ish. You've got to make sure it's level as well, so you can level it up with the edge of your pad. And I'm going to get some tape. This is the low tack tape I've been using. And this one is by Crafter's Companion. And probably about there. That will do. We'll do the same with this piece as well. Probably that way around. I want this line to be very fine. Then lightly tape the sides of that one down as well. So I use my size 2 again. Take most of the water off, not all of it. And then just drag that along. Have another piece of kitchen roll in your hand, just dab it back up again so it don't kind of seep underneath. And do the same on the other side. Just to lighten that line, just a little bit. Okay, now let's have a big reveal on that little area, shall we? That's one. Go away, thank you. And then we'll take the other one off. And as you can see, we've got a very light pale line there, which is very similar to that reference photograph. There's a matter of just tidying that up with our sort of brownie colour we've already made up, which was that cadmium orange and the phthalo blue, just a tiny amount, remember? And you just touch that in a little bit more in places, just to fine tune it, take most of that paint off. Then all we've got left to do is a shadow. Straightforward. All you need to do is add a little mark here and there, all the way down to begin with. This will need to be darker. And reflections on water, it's going to be vertical. So that's just going to be tapped down. Don't just paint a line. Grab some raw black. Just a small amount though. Take most of that off. Add that in over the top of that colour. Like so. There's the beak shadow done. Done. And then we'll do the shadow for the bird. And you see on the photograph it's all broken up, isn't it? So what we need to do with that, it's too strong, give it a dab, is just very lightly break it up like this, not leaving plenty of gaps in between. So we've got some yellow showing through, keeping all the lines horizontal as well in this case. Vertical for that one, horizontal for these. Then we got the legs, well the feet in this case really, aren't they? So reflection of the foot coming down there, well thereabouts. Vertical, and that one as well, vertical. Down to about there, yeah, anything like that will do. And then back to our dark colour, and add that one in as well. Very lightly, remember, hardly any paint on the brush. And if you wanted to darken the shadow, you can do. So I'm going to put a bit of black into here. Weaken it down with some of this colour so it's not too dark. That's like a dark brown, like a rich brown now. I can just darken this a little bit more in places to emphasise that shadow just a tiny bit more. Now if you fancy having a go at another silhouette painting, but this one with a different theme, have a look at the link to the top right hand corner of the screen. I'll see you there.